Good evening. My name is Christopher James Pomfret, and it is 9 p.m. As I promised it would be. And so this is my live all about gold and sharing the knowledge and my fascination with the most extraordinary object, I believe, on the planet. So this is going to be a little bit unusual for me because I'm literally going to 15 minutes. I'm not even going to acknowledge anybody who leaves me any messages. I'm going to be very grateful and your questions will be fantastic. Thank you. And I'll answer them. I'll explain how I'm going to answer them later. So please post questions and say hello and all those things. But if I get distracted, I know I'll go beyond 50 minutes. So I'm just going to say thank you everybody for your interaction. This is going to be a YouTube video too. So it's actually about who else is going to watch it. So I'm just going to crack on and I'm going to ask for a second myself, why am I so fascinated by gold, pure gold? You know, is it the allure, the mythical status that it's had through thousands of years? Because it truly is an extraordinary thing. It came to Earth over 200 million years ago, maybe more, by ancient meteoric bombardment. That in itself fascinates me, okay? All major religions have been obsessed with it, given it an allure, created something mystical around it. Would you believe Indian housewives own 10% of all gold on the world? German companies have gold schemes where you can literally save some of your money into gold. Would you believe a single ounce, okay, that's about 3 times this. A single ounce of gold, pure gold, is so malleable, it's the most malleable of all metals on planet Earth. Okay, a single ounce is so malleable but it can be beaten into a thin continuous sheet that is so thin that it would cover 100 square foot. So this 10-gram pure gold bar, okay, pure gold, would actually could be beaten into enough areas to cover my own back garden, more than 10 square meters. That's extraordinary. Isn't that extraordinary? I believe so. Okay, maybe it's the fact that it's been real money for over 5,000 years. So the same gold mined by the Egyptians, buried with their pharaohs, which we then obviously plundered and dug up, not we, but people, is still in existence today. Virtually every ounce that's ever been mined is accounted for, apart from, because of course when it was only transportable by ship and armadas, for example, got into cannonball battles, a lot of it ended up on the seafloor. So there are 3 million wrecks on the seafloor of the oceans of the world, which many companies are fighting over to wonder which ones have gold and where they should be looking. These are millions, these are billions worth of gold, literally in our sea. So they're the only real lost gold. So it's got a mythical 5,000 status, so powerful or power giving that pretty much every war has been fought for it. Napoleon, Hitler, the Incas. It's carried that kind of gravitas. So there's a golden rule, and that says that those that own the gold rule. So when Churchill was very worried we were actually going to be invaded, he sent our gold to Canada on the basis that the UK government could escape. Obviously, don't worry about the rest of us, but they could escape and actually still run a country even though it was occupied, because they had the power of the gold to back that ruling. Now, apparently, gold is actually everywhere. So going back to the ocean, okay, 8 times more gold than has ever been mined is floating around the oceans, just in the water. It's just that nobody's ever worked out an economical way to locate it and then mine it. Yeah, apparently, so if it's everywhere, it also feels like it's nowhere, okay? Because out of every billion atoms of rock in the Earth's crust, only one of those atoms is gold, 1 in a billion. Now, that seems extraordinary, therefore it's obvious it's pretty damn difficult to get out of the ground. This stuff is toiled over to find. Now, more steel, something else obviously mined, more steel, not mined, but you know what I mean, in terms of a metal, more steel is poured in 1 hour across the world than gold has ever had poured since time began. That's how precious, it's called a precious metal. That's how precious it is. So how much gold is there? Well, right now, estimates say, it's going to be an estimate, isn't it? Estimates say that if you cubed up every single piece of gold that's ever been mined on planet Earth, that cube would be no more than 20 metres by 20 metres by 20 metres. Effectively, a cricket pitch with its wickets, stumps at each end, a cricket pitch, a cricket pitch. That's how little gold there is on planet Earth. You can see why I'm fascinated by it. Here's the thing. Where is the gold? Because there's an awful lot of shenanigans and opaque goings on, let's put it that way, with gold, right? The US apparently have a lot of gold. Now, Fort Knox is where it's supposed to be. There's been no audit since 1954 of the Fort Knox. Gold? Really? It's in bars. It's stacked. It's numbered. Yeah, gold is numbered. It wouldn't be difficult. Almost all of the truly great gold experts on planet Earth believe completely and utterly there is no gold there. America, the US of A, has no gold. I'm coming to why that's really important. So how do you know me? You might know me and found me because I'm into alternative economies. I've created an alternative economy or two in the past. I work a lot with networkers and free thinkers. So I work in that field of alternative. And that's why you might know me from something called Mazitas, which is a think tank, a project, an idea that I've created and worked with people and created some interesting transformations. That's got a long way to go. I've created something called the Project Truth About Money. The truth about money. This is what really got me into gold, to looking into what does money mean. So I'm also, by the way, Sean, I've given myself a new title. I'm a special envoy to Legacy Gold. Came up with that one this afternoon. So these guys at Legacy Gold, great. Sean, visionary. The world's got a lot to learn from Legacy Gold about buying gold, and I'm going to come to that another time. And also what is called the narrator, telling the story at Bullion Coin. So you might have come across me in a number of ways. Bullion Coin is going to become very, very, very high profile. So that's how you may know me. And this is my story. 15 years ago, I got very, very interested in how money was created and the fact that it's all created in debt. And the fact that for every single one of these, it doesn't matter which currency it is on the planet, the paper money, there is nothing backing it. There is not even that amount of gold backing a single paper currency on planet Earth. Yet so many people believe there is. Okay, simply as that. It's called a fiat currency. Fiat means deigned by government. So I got very, very fascinated in the fact that a government could just tell you that this piece of money had a value, but it had no value, nothing storing against it. So I worked out that, do you know what? I needed to store my own wealth and I needed to tell everybody. I researched it. I did something called Rich Dad Coaching. I became immersed in Robert Kiyosaki speak. Robert Kiyosaki has basically made himself incredibly wealthy and coached and educated many others through property and this stuff. He's a massive gold bug. I listened and watched Jim Rickards, Mike Maloney, and then I went and located some experts and started talking to them. I love surrounding myself with gurus. I met and became friends of the greatest whistleblower in the whole precious metals market, who took on the bullion banks and lived. Most whistleblowers don't, as you know. And is trying to literally break the paper market. What's the paper market? Would you believe that many, many people who believe that they own this stuff actually own a piece of paper, which is a promise, which is no better than this, and yet they believe they own gold? It's extraordinary what goes on this planet around the whole financial system we know, but gold is probably more opaque than any. So this is the thing. When it's physical, all right, this is real money. This will survive forever. It's survived 5,000 years. There's no reason to believe that isn't actually some gold that was kicking around 5 years ago. It just happens to have been smelted and remelted and remade many, many times over. Purified. It's pure gold. So why now? I said I was going to do 15 minutes. I'm going to cover this in 5. Why now? You're going to begin to see a very, very large number of gold related posts across social media, blogs and information. People are going to start to become very aware of this in the UK, the US, Europe and the West. Very aware of it. Why are they going to become aware of it in the West? Because guess what? They're already aware of it in the East. It's really, really, really important. Remember the power, the golden rule? Those that own the gold rule. Gold, physical gold, has been moving west to east. Now, of course, I can't remember if the camera works right, okay? But basically, it's been moving from what we term as the west, I hate that term anyway, to the east. Now, I saw a slide 18 months ago that made me completely and utterly switch on to this. And that actually is where my fascination got involved. The other things are really interesting. I mean, Indian housewives own 10% of all gold on the planet. If that's not a fascinating stat, I don't know what is. What that means is that Indian housewives are going to survive a financial meltdown better than probably any other bunch of housewives on the planet, including desperate housewives. In fact, I guess all other housewives will become desperate housewives. Let me get back to the point. I saw a slide, 4 countries, 18 months ago, 4 countries had been building their gold store. 4 countries were buying more gold than any of the other countries put together. Whether you think there's another 180 or 190 other countries, 4 countries were buying more physical gold than the rest of them put together. And it was heading west to east. Turkey, Russia, India, and China. China is about to become, if it's not already, the most powerful country on the planet. Without a doubt. Without a doubt. 5 minutes research on the internet will show you that. So East is taking the gold. It's receiving the gold, physical gold. My experts are telling me they're buying it constantly. Goldman Sachs, probably the most pernicious, nasty banking organisation ever. Many other people say it. Believe me, I'm not going to die by saying that. Goldman Sachs beautifully survived the 2008 crash. Why do they do that? Because they sell a horrible position to the world and they take the opposite position as it's going to crumble. Goldman Sachs have been selling paper gold to everybody on the planet. Literally, last week, Goldman Sachs talked up a change of plan. They didn't say it, but they have. They've budded with China and they started talking about buying physical gold. They've changed their position. So they've sold a paper gold position to everybody on the planet who's listening, who buys stuff from Goldman Sachs. And they've changed the position and they're buying physical now. Goldman Sachs moving away from paper to physical should make anybody think, maybe I just need an ounce or 2 of this. So, I hope I've set off a spark in you to ask, what next? Why do I need to go and buy some gold? But think about this. If for 1 second you could think, had you put 1% of every check you'd ever received, okay, every check you'd ever received into your store of wealth, imagine what that would be worth now. Because the point about gold money, all right, it's real money. It won't lose its value over the long term. It will increase in value. So when the pounds, the dollars plummet, guess what happens to gold? It always stores your value. So if I've set off a spark of interest, my question to you is, what next? Well, the what next is I'm going to do a Q&A tomorrow night. I'm going to cover a lot more. It's going to be on a Zoom. If you'd like the Zoom link, then drop your message in below, just in the comments. Or if you're playing catch up, message me. But yeah, 9 p.m. on Monday, the 11th of September, I'm going to do a live Q&A with a Zoom. I'm going to cover 3 things in particular. The one question I get asked all the time by people: how and where do I buy gold? How do I actually get this stuff? Secondly, what does a gold deal look like? I know the inside of gold deals. And thirdly, I'm going to cover the retreats, the gold summits we're going to be running beginning in October. It's going to be an extraordinary, beautiful place. A lot of people who know my story will know where that is. So this is really, really very important. And if you want to be in on the Zoom, then join in tomorrow night. It will be via a link only. I'm going to finish with a quote. I'm going to say thank you very much for your time. I've hit 15 minutes. I'm going to finish with a quote. And the quote comes from somebody called Kenneth J. Gerbino. Think about this. If you don't trust gold, Do you trust the logic of taking a beautiful pine tree worth thousands of dollars, pounds or yen, cutting it up and turning it into pulp and then paper, putting some ink on it and calling it $1 billion? My name is Christopher James Pomfret. I've loved bringing this live to you. Think about this. They print more and more and more and more of this stuff, and the value of it goes down further and further. There's no more to print. It's very hard to find, and it's precious. Now can you see why I'm fascinated by gold? Enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you for watching.